Welcome to this episode on the Health and Happiness Show, where it's my mission to change your mindset so that you can live a healthy and happier life. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. Hey guys, Ollie here, and welcome back to another episode on the Health and Happiness Show, where today I want to talk about the power of having a morning meditation. This is something that I teach my academy students. This is something that I've been practicing for the last 5+ years, and it's something that I want to share with you today in this podcast episode. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Now, in case you're wondering, a morning meditation is essentially a routine or ritual that you have that allows you to serve yourself before you go into the day and start serving everybody else. Because think about it, if I was to guess, then right now you're probably only helping others but failing to help yourself. And look, whilst that's selfless and it's respectable, it's you who's falling short. It's your own health and happiness which is missing out because you're only paying it forwards. Now look, I get it. We need to pay it forwards. We need to be kind. We need to show compassion towards others. That is the very part that I love about you. That is your humility. But at the same time, if you're not actually repaying that to yourself, for yourself, and not showing yourself the love, the kindness, and the care that you need and deserve, then actually our health and our happiness is always going to be incomplete. And that's a problem because my mission, my pursuit is to help you live a healthy and happy life. So today, if I can just raise an ounce of awareness around actually serving yourself through something such as a morning meditation, then that will be very much my mission complete. And that's the awareness that I want to bring to you today. So essentially, a morning meditation does allow you to serve yourself before you serve anyone else. It's a way of setting your day up for success. Because if I was to think about it, like if I was to guess, maybe this morning, right, you woke up in a very negative, reactive state. Let's say, you're hitting snooze repeatedly. Then you're actually now running late for work. On your route to work, you're grabbing and going, into McDonald's and, eating all of the wrong foods that aren't going to benefit your health or your happiness. And then you stumble into work. Now you're 5-10 minutes late. Your boss is shouting at you. You're stressed. You're under pressure. And actually, this then has a ripple effect throughout the preceding course of the day. Whereas, for example, let's say you wake up, 30 minutes earlier, even just 5 minutes earlier, and within that time, you allow yourself to just breathe, to just think, to meditate, to journal, to just drink a cup of coffee, right, and just sit there and take in what you have in today, or actually how you're going to serve other people today, and take that time for yourself in that very moment, just to be present in the present tense is so powerful. Yet actually, for so many of us, we're either dwelling on what happened yesterday or we're worrying about what's coming up tomorrow. So if you can actually take the time in your morning meditation to be present in the present tense, then you have already set yourself up to win. And actually, within that present moment, take in all of the senses, the sights that you see, the sounds that you hear, the smell that you smell, and so forth, right? You can get in so much beauty in actually just being present and taking in your surroundings and actually taking in this special moment. Like, it sounds silly, but the reality is when I'm sitting there with my journal, expressing my thoughts, and I'm drinking my cup of coffee, I'm grateful, I'm appreciative, and already it's set me up for success because it's put me in a positive mindset. And truthfully, guys, this is what it comes down to, right? Negative versus positive. We need to look at the practices, the routines, the rituals that are going to allow us to set ourselves up for success for the day ahead, for our life ahead. And categorically, I know that creating a positive mindset leads to the positive results that you want to see. If we're in a negative mindset, if we're in a fixed mindset, then guess what? Your results are going to be fixed. You're always going to think, feel, and act in a negative manner. So by practicing these positive routines, these positive rituals, which is what I call a morning meditation, then that's going to set you up for success. Another reason why it's so important to do it in the morning is because the reality is, if you say, I'm going to make it in the evening, or I'll do it during my lunch hour, the reality is it's not going to happen, because there'll be another priority which just sits a little bit higher, and then you prioritize that. Or actually, maybe you're a mum or a dad listening to this, and actually then you're starting to serve the kids. You're making sure that they're in bed, or that they're having their dinner, or maybe the dog needs walking, whatever it is, right? We can actually start to see and appreciate that unless we take this time for ourselves, then it's probably not going to happen. So you may therefore be wondering, actually, what should we include within a morning meditation? And I guess the beautiful answer to that is there's no right or wrong answer. In fact, the only wrong answer is to not have a morning meditation. So what I can do at least is I can share with you what I do. And for me, my morning meditation is predicated on the 4 pillars. So within the Health and Happiness Academy, I teach the students the 4-pillar formula. And essentially, the academy is built on these 4 pillars. Those are mind, body, love, and soul. And for me, I try and create my morning meditation to include all of those 4. Why? Because again, it comes back to serving myself. If I can serve myself in a complete way that allows me to work on my mind, body, love, and soul, then I'm empowered. I am empowered to proceed into the day ahead with the correct mindset, with the correct thinking, with the correct attitude. This is what it comes down to. So for me, my morning meditation is predicated on those 4 pillars: mind, body, love, and soul. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you examples of what that may look like and what you can do in your day. Now, this is where I'm probably going to lose you, because you're probably just going to turn off after here once I tell you what I tend to do for my mind. But anyway, give me a chance, okay? So for my mind, the first pillar, my morning meditation usually starts with either getting up at 5 a.m. or perhaps, having a cold shower, okay? Now, I know, and this is where I said I was going to lose you, because I know for a fact that neither of those appeal to you. But honestly, it is often the difficult thing that leads to the greatest, result, okay? And we need to understand the psychology of this. Getting up at 5 a.m. is hard. This is why it's working my mind, right? Equally, getting into a freezing cold shower, we're not on about, warm to lukewarm to cold here. We're on about a freezing cold shower, right? These are difficult challenges that ultimately build a stronger, tougher, more resilient mind. And when people say to me, Ollie, how do you have such a powerful, strong mindset, or whatever it is, I'm like, by actually doing these routines, by actually doing these practices every single day, right? So look, maybe if you begin up at 7 a.m., maybe, going from 7 a.m. to 5 a.m. would be too big of a jump. But actually, like I said, you only need to get up 5 minutes earlier to create a morning meditation. So maybe that looks like 5:45 or 6:30 or 6 a.m. It doesn't need to be 5 a.m. But for me, that is a magical hour. Why? Because it's such an undisrupted, peaceful, tranquil hour where there are no distractions, there's no external noise, and actually you can be present in the present. So that would include, getting up at 5 a.m., having a cold shower. They play a part of my morning routine, of me working my mind. Again, just think about getting in the cold shower. It probably gives you, the shivers right now, but ultimately, this is what builds a stronger mindset. And if there's any encouragement that I can add to, try and persuade you just a little bit more, that I haven't lost the plot and hopefully haven't lost you on this podcast yet, is after about 4 days, your body starts to adapt to it. So without getting too sciencey, the cells in your body are made up of mitochondria, and they start to adapt to it after 4 days. So the first 4 days will be absolutely horrendous, but after that, it gets just a little bit easier. And I kid you not, honestly, I can now get into a cold shower and it feel warm. Why? Because my mitochondria, my body has adapted. So this moves us on to our body, okay? And for me, this will include one of 2 things. It will either include A workout, B, a walk, or C, okay, one more, a stretch, a yoga session, mobility, something along that nature, okay? But I'm doing something to work on my body. Okay, that's going to actually get the heart rate up a little bit, get a little bit of sweat going, and actually movement. Okay, we need to understand that when we've just been sleeping for like 6 to 8 hours, we've been static. Okay, so one of the best ways in the morning is to move. Stretching is incredible. What does a cat do as soon as it wakes up? It stretches, right? We should be no different. We are animals as well, and we need to stretch. In fact, I could probably guess that the large majority of the pains and aches that you're facing right now are a result of immobility and actually a lack of stretching. Okay, so whether it's a stretch, whether it's just a walk, like, I love nothing more than, shortly after 5 a.m. to go outside, certainly during summer, where it's, you can see the sun rising and it's just so peaceful. There isn't a single car, that you hear the birds chirping. It's just so beautiful. It absolutely is. And again, maybe that's persuading you more, but just do something to work on your body. A stretch, a yoga session, mobility, a workout, a walk, something. Okay, that then moves us on to love. Now this for me is doing something that I love to start my day, to create an instantaneous feeling of happiness. Okay, so what that usually includes is, again, usually one of two things. Okay, maybe three: reading, writing, or listening. Now sometimes these can interlink. So for example, on my walk in the morning, I may listen to a podcast, or I may listen to an audiobook. That's obviously meeting both together at the same point, at the same time, which is amazing as well if you wanted to condense the window down into a smaller window. But then sometimes for me, I love just, with my cup of coffee, to have my book and take in, 30 minutes of reading, one chapter, whatever it is, and actually taking that in. For me, reading is a big passion of mine. I'm an advocate of reading. I think it has, a book has the power to change someone's life, or at least get them started on a journey to changing their life. So reading for me plays a big part. I'm reading about 4 books on the go at the moment. Why? Because I want to consume as much information as I can. Why? So that I can help and serve more people with that knowledge, with that wisdom, with that information. And then, like I said as well, sometimes for me that is writing. This is I think it's like a tag, but this is me dropping out there that I am now writing my very own book. I have started writing my very own book, and this is something that I cannot wait to share with you and the rest of the world, because already I'm so excited at how this may help and serve people, and the impact that it hopefully has on the world. So I can't tell you when that's due to happen. It's in its infancy, but I will keep you updated. But that is the sort of spoiler, if you like, that I can't wait to share with you. So stay tuned for that. But for me, writing and getting that creativity, is such a great way of actually opening up and expanding my mindset so early on in the day as well. Finally, that moves on to our soul. Okay, and for the soul pillar, it's very much about connection. In a very connected world, digitally, on social media, we've become so disconnected with ourselves, with the world. So to actually reconnect and keep to connect with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our emotions, is so profound, to say the least. Okay, and for me, some of those ways would include journaling. Journaling changed my life. It saved my life through some of the darkest and most difficult days, and actually having that intimacy with a journal where you can express everything that you need to in a sacred, secure, and private manner is so releasing. It allows you to express that actually you hold nothing back, and it allows you to put all in into something that maybe you couldn't do maybe with a friend, a partner, or somebody else. Okay, so journaling for me is a magical way of actually releasing. Another way would include actually breathing. We breathe unconsciously all day, every day. If you didn't, you would die. But actually, most of us have forgotten, or we don't know how to breathe, which sounds crazy. It's a paradox, right? But the reality is most of us don't know how to breathe. So I can share with you now a very simple but my favorite method to controlling our breath is the box method. Okay, whereby you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you let go of that breath for 4 seconds. That takes control of the body again, the nervous system, and allows you to bring the present tense to your breath. Okay, so breathing is so magical. And then again, finally, would be meditation. Okay, so a lot of people get themselves worked up when it comes to meditation. The reality is there's no real right or wrong way to meditate. We think that we've got to do the pose or the humming. The reality is just sitting, just thinking, just feeling. Even walking is a form of meditation. And again, I would encourage you to get creative. I would encourage you to explore different ways to meditating, because there's so many different ways. And the most important thing, like a diet, is to find the one which works best for you, to find that approach, to find that method. So that concludes those 4 pillars: mind, body, love, and soul. And they are just a few examples of how I integrate all 4 into my morning meditation. You may be thinking, but Ollie, doesn't this take like 2 hours? But the reality is, in many cases, it can take 15 minutes, but usually it takes anywhere from 30 to 45. Hence why, personally, I choose to get up at, say, 5 a.m. to allow myself the time to take for myself, right? Perhaps if I was getting up at 6 a.m., then maybe I would condense that down into a 5-10 minute, morning meditation. But for me, I value the time in getting up earlier. I value actually sacrificing a little bit less sleep, or maybe if I can, go to bed earlier to actually create that magical moment within that first hour of the day. And all I can say and all I can do is I can encourage you to at least try it. I can encourage you to try and implement those 4 pillars: the mind, body, love, and soul, the 4-pillar formula that I teach my academy students. What have you got to lose? And often, one of my sort of favorite sayings is, what's the alternative, right? What's the alternative to not trying this? To continue to wake up reactive and negative and in this, horrible state, right? Like, that isn't an option for me. So you may as well at least try it. And again, be creative, make it bespoke to you, and really, you've got nothing to lose. But that is what I wanted to share with you today in this podcast episode. The power of a morning meditation is so powerful, and it gives me so much excitement to share that with you today. So that is all from me. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, guys, stay healthy, be happy, take care.